Hi. I'll wait for the room to settle down a bit. Who's coming and who's going? No, it's good to be here. Uberall is a global SaaS technology company based out of Germany. We help companies to manage all of their real estate location data across many different platforms and channels. We work here with a partner, Metrics 2034, in Turkey. And I want to sort of walk you through today some of the things that that we are experiencing, some of the things our customers are experiencing within this market. And, you know, near me is something that most people are aware of. I'm hoping that most people in this room will know about near me, and we'll touch on that in a moment. So let me just have a look. Right. Do you want to go on? Yeah? Carry on? Yeah? Okay. So, right, so the Near Me brand experience and the power of it and how to build it. There are some things that we do without thinking. You know, what do we do when you lose your mobile phone charger? When you need to find a coffee shop open at 5 a.m. at night to go to work early in the morning, a great restaurant for a date night, or a car mechanic. And the first thing we do is turn to our phone. You know, and we're not the only ones. Everyone is doing this currently. It seems to be that near me searches are becoming sort of very much the normal search with mobile. We know that 60% of all Google search currently is mobile search. And back in the day, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when near me first started to trend as a term, consumers were using near me and they were appending that with a brand. So they were saying a McDonald's near me or a HSBC bank near me. But now it's slightly different. Everything is, you know, geolocated, or nearly everything is geolocated, and the consumer behaviors are changing. And if we start to think about sort of, you know, going back in time to, say, June 2007, when Steve Jobs sort of walked onto a stage and said, we're going to go and reinvent the phone. And that was kind of like, you know, the birth of the smartphone. You know, consumer behavior and device behavior has changed quite a lot. And that really does impact and affect our lives quite considerably. And you know, in this always connected world, the consumers are changing and the consumer behaviors are changing. You know, we are more empowered to engage with brands. We want information to be more local to us and more relevant locally to us. When we're doing a search, it's not about having it in 5 kilometers away from us as it was about 6 or 7 years ago. We want results to be 200 to 300 yards away from us, or 200 or 300 meters away from us in a congested high street. And this is always changing the way that consumers are behaving, and we are now in this world of near me. And this is, you know, a welcome to the world of near me. And there are 3 really big challenges that are taking place which you need to embrace as a brand. And we'll touch on sort of the individual elements of this throughout and why it is important to be thinking about how you're connecting with your customers when they need you, you know, when they're in that last mile of looking for a product in a search. So we'll start with the rise of the rise of local intent. And local intent is really important because when people are making these searches, they want products and services then, in that moment. So the intent is incredibly high, and it's incredibly important that you are visible in that journey. So when someone is doing a search for a restaurant by me, or a restaurant near me, or, you know, fast food near me, I don't know why I'm talking about food all the time, you know, you have to be in that conversation, you have to be visible, you know, because there are things going on that, you know, a lot of people don't know about, especially from a marketing perspective and how marketing budgets are spent. And we still talk to, you know, CMOs that really don't understand, and marketing managers that really don't understand how to engage with their customers in that last mile when they are searching locally for their products and services. And it is like a paradigm shift. You know, it is a huge change. So, you know, it's not important or as important now to focus on that headline top brand. You know, yes, it is still important to increase brand awareness. It is important to spend money on TV, on, you know, in newspapers, etc. But you have to start thinking about where do your customers connect to you when you're doing that. And there is a big gulf and a big divide. And one of the things that's happening now is it's not just a domain of large brands. You know, small independent brands, coffee shops, compete and do better than Starbucks in a lot of areas and in a lot of regions because the way they're using search and the way that they're using review management. And I know for a fact that where our London office is in the UK, there's a Starbucks about 500 meters from us, and there's a small independent coffee shop next to it. And if you do an unbranded search for coffee shop near me in Tower Hill in London, Starbucks are beaten by the small independent. So the playing field is level. Doesn't matter how much money you've got, it's what you do, and it's how you use technology and how you start to get into these sorts of, you know, environments where we're seeing huge growth with Near Me. If you look at sort of Google from 2014, and then it's estimated at the end of 2019 there'll be 2 trillion global searches. And we talk about Near Me being around about 50%. And that's when someone is, you know, putting in the search term near me and they're being geolocated. And there's really interesting things that sort of come out the back of that. And this is the real scary thing for a lot of brands, is that 82% of these searches are unbranded. So customers don't really care who you are at that moment in time. They know they want a product, they know they want a service, and they want it to be near to where they are. So there's a huge marketplace out there that is open. And if you're not visible in that marketplace, you're not going to get found. And that's one of the interesting elements. We talk about fragmentation. You know, this is where your customers are finding these answers. And we know that in Turkey there is something like 88% penetration in search from Google. Yandex is around about 18% at the moment, but predominantly on maps. And globally, whenever we go and talk to customers and we go talk to audiences, it's all about, okay, we need to be present and we need to be visible in Google. But how does that happen? It's not just about AdWords. It's not just about good SEO. There's a number of factors that go on outside of all of that. And these environments down here, such as Facebook, you know, Yelp, Foursquare is an incredibly important environment. You know, if your business isn't visible in Foursquare, even though your customers don't necessarily look at Foursquare, you're missing out, because Foursquare powers a lot of the information that goes into voice search, that goes into Google search results. And this is kind of what it really does look like. This is what you have to do as a business to navigate and to make sure that you are visible when people are searching for you. This is where your brand has to be. So we know that, you know, Google powers the location data within Waze. Facebook powers the location information within Instagram. And you look at Bing with Cortana. Google spends $70 billion a year making sure that their results are shown in Apple. And these are all connected, and they all end up pretty much at Google's front door. And you've got sort of, you know, second and third tiers, so things like Yellow Pages and other directories where there is a citation, which is a reference of your business. That's a really positive signal for Google, and Google uses that in its algorithm to rank you. And you have to be across here. And your information across these environments has to be perfect. You know, your name and your address and everything about your business, you know, the products and the services you're selling, your opening hours, the store manager potentially if you're a retail business, all has to be perfect and consistent. And these are all the elements and these are all the things that Google is looking at when it makes these searches, when it goes into the ecosystem, you know, to find a result. You know, and it also is important that, you know, you're doing things like GMB, your Google My Business, a really important, powerful, you know, tool at the moment. We have one of the most advanced APIs in the world that powers information into Google My Business, and we can update this information instantly, you know, across hundreds of thousands of locations. We work with Shell and BP, and Shell have about 27,000 locations with us at the moment. And every time someone changes an opening hour anywhere in the world, they go into our platform and it updates across all of this ecosystem really quickly. So when their customers are in, you know, some sort of backwater in Missouri looking for a gas station, you know, they can find that Shell station open. But also there is that fragmentation of technology. You know, it's not just about mobile phones, it is about voice. And if you think about that previous slide on, how do you get information into Home Assistants? Now, how does information get into Siri? That's quite an easy one because you know that Google powers that. But with Home Assistants, you know, you've got Google, Yelp, Facebook, and Foursquare are powering the majority of the information that goes into Cortana and Google Home and Apple Home. And what is really interesting is that, you know, 6 out of 10 journeys that start as a shopping journey do not finish on the device they're started on. But what is really critical is that 76% of your customers that are looking for products and services that you provide and get a result, go and visit that store within, or that location, or contact that company within 24 hours of getting that information. So that intent is really high. And 28% of those make a purchase. So you could be looking at a 22% conversion rate just from local. And these are some of the numbers that we see with our customers when we look at sort of ROI case studying and looking at the actions that come out of GMB and Facebook, et cetera, and then following that through to conversion right into the store. So it's a high intent, high volume environment that brands and companies now need to consider playing with. And then obviously there's the fragmentation of attention. We get about 174 newspapers worth of information pushed at us every single day. Now, how do we cut through that? And it does raise uncertainty. You know, where do I find the right product? Where do I find the right service? You know, where does my journey start and when does my journey end? And then the last element, which is really important, is, you know, reviews. You know, what do you choose? You know, and when you look at a Shell station or a Texaco station, and then the one down below that is a supermarket that has a gas station inside it. You know, is it the star rating? Is it the brand loyalty you may have? Is it the closeness to you? There's a lot of influence that's going on there. You know, and smartphones have given consumers the knowledge, but reviews do give them the power. You know, we now talk to customers the way that we think we should be talking to them, you know, and we're expecting them to respond to us. We're expecting them to understand. And you have to be able to manage that. You have to be able to go in there. Google put a high influence on your ranking result based on the time it takes you to reply to a Google review. So it's really important to have access to this information and to be able to react and to respond to it. And we know, you know, 97% of consumers, you know, are influenced by reviews. We all do it every single day. You know, whether you're on an Amazon platform or you are on a store platform, you know, you are looking at what the reviews are if you're not too sure about that product. And then there's the human interaction as well. You know, we are in a world of millennials. I'm 50 years old and I behave like a millennial online. I want things now. I need to have things, you know, when I want them. And I want to be treated and I want to be respected as well. You know, and we know that 33% of people that post a bad review, once they get a response, they either take that review down or they change it to a positive review. So again, you know, reviews aren't just things that people can hide behind and brands can like sort of be fearful of. You've got to get in there and you've got to react and you've got to interact with them. So, you know, there are some tips. I'm not going to go for all of them, but some of the really important ones is accurate data across all of your ecosystem, across all of the entities that you touch is incredibly important. You have to be visible. If you are not visible, your competition, whether it is the next, you know, large brand or the small independent next to your location down the street, will take that custom from you because we don't care when we're customers looking for information who the brand is. Prioritize GMB profiles and make it perfect. But don't just focus on Google My Business. Focus on the other elements as well, such as Facebook, such as Foursquare, such as Yelp. You know, these environments and Yandex, where, you know, we can power across both Yandex Search and Yandex Maps. Keep consistent brand messaging going through that. Encourage customers to give you reviews. Always respond to bad reviews. We've done a very large survey recently of 100,000 of our customers from SMB through to enterprise. And the majority of companies only reply to 1 and 5 stars, which is not very good. Your sweet spot is around about 4 to 4.4. If you can get into 4 to 4.4, you're doing very, very well. And then customers start to trust your reviews. And quickly moving on. So this is kind of what you need to do. You need to start to own that near-me customer journey, which is really easy to do when you understand the real estate that's around you and how to do it. So you're allowing customers to find you. And like you is not necessarily doing a thumbs up on Facebook, but actually enjoying the experience that they have with you. Then buying and then recommending and then coming back. And this can be all done, you know, very seamlessly through one platform. And here's my sort of, you know, my last hurrah. So this is how you need to do it. You need to join all the fragmented parts of that map together. And it is very difficult. There are only 3 companies globally that really do this, and we're lucky enough to be one of them, and with Metrics 34 bringing it into Turkey as well. You know, we have direct APIs into these environments, you know, which are, you know, not very, you know, frequently made available, but it gives you one central platform for you to actually, you know, manage, enhance, and create and distribute information, you know, from that search and discovery through to engagement and then conversion. And we track all of this, you know, and we let you have a view of this, and you see how you're doing, how your star ratings are for individual locations, but also for your global environments as well. So you can see what it is, so you're in control. And then, you know, complete listings management, giving you an overview and an insight into exactly what's going on with your business in those disparate environments, such as Google and Facebook local pages, which are also incredibly important. But around about 125 other global publishers as well that we have. And then reputation management, being able to manage, you know, all of this information from one place, being able to segment various different, you know, messages and communications, and being able to, you know, segment reviews by stars or negativity or positivity, and being able to respond in real time across Google and across Facebook and across Yelp and TripAdvisor and Trustpilot, etc., from one place. And there's a ton of companies that are doing it already. We manage about 1.5 million individual locations globally. And you know, we'd like to talk to you about it more. Come and see us at the stand. We're outside. Thank you very much.